Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where today we are going to be reviewing the album Bless the Martyr and Kiss the Child by Norma Jean. Now, I've never actually known who this band was. I just saw the artwork on Facebook, people talking about it, and I was like, let's give it a first time listen, review it for the channel, see what's what. So, bit of backstory into the band. Apparently, they were formerly known as Luty Chris, and they are an American Christian metalcore band from Douglasville, Georgia area, somewhere around. And apparently, the band was founded back in 1997 and now has no original members left in its roster. They have released 8 full studio albums over the years, and they have received a Grammy Award nomination back in 2006 for the Best Recording Package for their second album. So, as Luty Chris, they dropped one album called Throwing Myself back in 2001, and then 3 EPs, which were Luty Chris and Travail, split EP with Travail, in 1999, the 5 EP in 2000, and then One Night split with Beloved in 2002. So, they then transferred over to the Norma Jean name, where they released 8 albums and 1 EP, plus 2 compilation albums. So, the EPs they released were Me Without You in 2002, Bless the Martyr, Kiss the Child in 2002, which was an album. Then they had the album Oh God, The Aftermath in 2005, which is the one that they received the Grammy nomination for Best Recording Package in. Redeemer in 2006, The Anti-Mother in 2008, and Meridonial in 2010, Wrongdoers in 2013, and Polar Similar in 2016, and then finally All Hail in 2019. So the band is still going for the most part. Like, their last album was dropped in 2019. So with the backstory done, we're going to move on to the actual review of the album, which starts with track number 1. The entire world is counting on me and they don't even know it. 3 minutes and 10 seconds long. So, the first track kicks in very quickly, and it has a very raw, unrefined feel to it. The vocals are extremely muddy. They kind of feel like it was done in one take. There wasn't much cleaned up. It was you can tell it's a very early 2000s album, with how little production there is on the tracks. The instruments in the track are solid, but they are very traditional to that early 2000s metalcore sound. But the first track was definitely solid. Moving on, we have track number 2, which is Face Face, and clocks in at 3 minutes and 31 seconds. It may be just me, but the vocals on this one reminded me of very early of Mice and Men, and it also had some interesting lines, such as, Leech with 2 daughters, give, give, they cry her name is a liar, I refuse, a liar, which is literally the very opening verse, and consequently also the ending verse too. I also like the lines, a kiss from her is one of the grave, and also, bullets by her mouthful, an enemy at your 6. All of them I found very interesting, and to be some of the more quirky lines in this song. Moving on, we have track number 3, which is Memphis Will Be Laid to Waste, which clocks in at just under 5 minutes. So apparently, the title for this song is taken from a Bible verse in Jeremiah, was it 46:19 or some shit? The vocals are very muffled in the track, and at certain points it feels a little chaotic in a creative way, if that makes sense. But I wouldn't say it was my favourite track on the album so far. Moving on, we have track number 4 with Creating Something Out of Nothing Only to Destroy It, which clocks in at 6 minutes and 22. Once again, the vocals at the start are really muddy, hard to work out, so much so genius, which is where I get a lot of my lyrics from when I'm trying to like follow along, pick out lines to review for the songs, actually has question marks listed as some of the lines. I have never seen that before in a band, especially a metal band, because, you know, with metal, there's normally somebody out there that can decipher what the fuck is being said, but so far, nobody knows what's being said for certain lines on this track, which is interesting. The lyrics mainly are talking about war, guns, knives. You know, the last 13 or so lines are simply just like bringing a knife to a gunfight, screamed over and over and over and over again. Which personally I found that this track is somewhat where I started to losing interest in the album, and we're only about 4 tracks in. Now, as we go along, you'll see why I'm losing interest in this, and it's not for the religious aspects at all, because they are quite well veiled at points. It wasn't until the album was actually done that I was like, oh shit, wait, that was supposed to be like a fucking religious band, you know? But it's other aspects to the writing more so than anything that lost me. So, moving on, we have track number 5 with Pretty Soon, I Don't Know What, But Something Is Going to Happen. And this one clocks in at 15 minutes and 50 fucking seconds. Yes, nearly 16 minutes. So, what do I have to say? Well, holy fuck. This may be the longest track I've actually reviewed on this on any album on this channel yet. It clocks in at, like I said, 15 minutes and 50 seconds, which is what? It's on a 58 minute 22 album. So it's just little over a quarter of the full album runtime on one track, which is mental. And the first, 6 minutes are all instrumental, which I actually kind of enjoyed the instrumental nature of the first 6 minutes. And then it's the latter half where the vocals kick in, where it kind of goes to that chaotic clusterfuck again. With the opening line being, "Time can kill the greatest of men," which is kind of ironic on a very long track. But like I said, the instrumental portion is interesting.
I don't have an answer for that.
No one spoke to you, Alexa, you dumbass. I'm leaving that in. The instrumental portion is interesting, and portions feel a little doom metal inspired at points. And that could just be something that I was thinking when I was listening to it, but there definitely felt like that inspiration there. The lyrics do kick in, and I found them a little repetitive when they did kick in, because like I said, on such a long song you would kind of expect for maybe a couple verses, a couple choruses, some switching up here and there, maybe some beat changes. Even on metalcore they kind of like to keep things somewhat fresh, whereas this just kind of was like, this is point A, this is point B where the vocals kick in, this is point C. There was no fucking around. They just kind of were like, let's get this over and done with. Which, on a long song like this, either A, in my opinion, don't do a long song like this, B, do a long song like this but actually put some fucking effort into it, or C, do a long song like this and make it fully instrumental. because I could have tolerated a full instrumental, track, but a very repetitive, very long track makes for a dull listening experience, personally. And again, like I said, that paired with the last song where they were just like repeating the same line 13 lines straight, you can see why I'm starting to go a little bit drawn away from it, and I'm like, yeah, not that great. But anyway, moving on. We have track 6, The Shotgun Message. 1 minute, 38 seconds. So we've gone from one extreme to another here with the second shortest track on this album. And honestly, I have nothing to say about it. There was nothing I could point out. It was over before it began. Yeah, it wasn't great, wasn't bad. It was just there. Moving on, we have track 7 with Sometimes It's Our Greatest Mistakes That Make Our Greatest Ideas. 3 minutes 16. So this track once again felt extremely repetitive, with lines of congratulations or a fortunate one over and over again, which dragged on and on and on. And that's about all I have to say for this one, because it was just a lot of repetition. Moving on, we have track number 8 with I Used to Hate Cell Phones, But Now I Hate Car Accidents at 5 minutes and 2 seconds. Again, this is a very raw and muddy track, but once again, it had a ton of lines that are just repeated, and the vocals are so muffled and muddy, it sounds like they're missing words and stumbling over what they're saying, and there's just fuck all pronunciation to it whatsoever. Moving on to track number 9 now, we have It Was As If the Dead Man Stood Upon the Air for 1 minute 31. Now this one is the actual shortest track on the album. And again, it's repetitive as all hell, with the last 4 lines just being rewind this cycle, this endless cycle. I don't really have a lot to say again. Moving on to track number 10 here now, we have The Human Face Divine, 5 minutes and 41 seconds. I enjoyed the drums in this, and that's kind of it for the most part. All the songs are now kind of like blurring into one. I'm losing focus, I'm losing track of what songs are what. I can't think about, how many songs are left, how many songs have I been through, what song am I on now, like where am I to, because it's just a cacophony of repeated lines, muddy vocals, extremely long like song names, and I was just getting so dumb, and I was just bored personally. But with that one, it does take us to the final track, which is track number 11, Organised Beyond Recognition, 7 minutes 29 seconds. So again, we've got a longer track here, and the instrumentation on this one is much cleaner. It's more enjoyable than most of the others on the actual album, but again, the vocals felt very repetitive lyrically. But with that being said, it did feel like one of the better tracks. So, my final thoughts on the album. Overall, it was okay. Probably not my lyrical preferences. The musicianship on the album is good, and I'm sure some of their more newer material is probably a lot more refined melodically, a lot more vocally clean, because I believe they've got a different vocalist from this one album. Like, this guy did one album and then fucked off, and then they got a new vocalist in, so I'm sure if I listen to something with his, it probably might be slightly better. But, on top of that, what's with all this really strange song names? Like, we don't need a full fucking paragraph as a song name, Fall Out Boy's people made them change song names for a good reason. They were too fucking long. Somebody should have told these guys, look, you can't have a full paragraph as a song name. If you want it in there, put it in the fucking actual lyrics, Not more creativity went into the names of the songs than the songs themselves, I feel like. But yeah, overall for me, it's a 5 out of 10. It's not shit, it's not great, it's kind of meh, it's in the middle. As one of my first, mid albums. So, yeah. But with that being said, my top songs on this were Organised Beyond Recognition, Face Face, The Entire World is Counting on Me and They Don't Even Know It, and pretty soon, I don't know when, but something is definitely going to happen, or whatever the fuck it was called, the really long track, because the first 6 minutes of that were enjoyable. And I could kind of, get down with it. But with that being said, this album review is done. It is one of the shorter ones. So I will see you again in the next episode, where I will have for you the 6-song roundup, episode 16. And then after that, we are going to be moving on to Whitechapel's album Kin, which I still haven't listened to fully, and that will be my next review. And then after that, I am probably going to review another album, because I've got a tripod now and I can rest my mic on top of it. I'm feeling a little bit more motivated, I'm making some changes. I've made a banner, I've changed my name on here. We're gonna throw ourselves into these music reviews. We're gonna be streaming on Twitch again, probably Tuesday, so stop by there, twitch.tv/Raven7131. Got some new emotes in. The temporary ones, for the most part, we are probably going to be changing them around again. Been playing a lot of Fortnite with my mates on there. Yeah, I know, Fortnite EU. I'm just kind of unsure what to play, so yeah. But with that being said, remember, friends, stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next 6-song roundup, episode 16.